suit, so we just switched today.
Yeah, that's right. So I get to cash down today, but pardon? Yes, I did. I went to the U.S. Open yesterday with my son, or Thursday. So anyway, William Payne, I'm running for the Sequim School District at the at-large position. And of course, I know many of you, and I appreciate your support last year as I ran for a prosecuting attorney. Martin Nichols prevailed in that campaign, but I had a great time doing it. It was fun to run the campaign. It was long. I'm getting kind of a late start. I was just telling Sue, I think I'm sort of trying to gear up because we just got finished with that one last time. So it's going to take a while to throw all that together, but I appreciate the invite. I view this as an early invitation, if you will, to sort of to hear what you guys are interested in and learn a little bit about me if you don't know me. So just briefly, I moved here to Clallam County back in 2008 with my family. My daughter and my son are in middle school. They just graduated 8th grade this week. My wife is a nurse practitioner at the Jamestown Clinic, and I was a former prosecuting attorney appointed by 2 commissioners, including Jim McIntyre. Last year, I was previously to that was an attorney general here for the state and a prosecutor. I've been a prosecutor and defense attorney for many years, but that wasn't always my first career. I actually spent 10 years working in the computer industry, like Sean did, at a computer consulting company in Texas where I grew up. And prior to that, I was in the Marine Corps where I enlisted. And then after 4 years, I was commissioned and stayed another 8 years as a commissioned officer. Right now, I have a civil and criminal practice here in Sequim, as we live in Sequim. This is where we wanted our focus to be. So the reason I wanted to run for the school district is I have 2 kids in the school district, and I almost think that it should be a prerequisite, really, that if you're on the school district, you ought to have a kid in the school. Not that people that don't have kids in the school district aren't vested. I think that you got just that little bit more that makes you have a vested interest in the school district. Of course, the bond didn't pass last time. I don't know where people feel about that. I think it might have been too much money. It was the second time it went through. I can just tell you that I think if it's done smartly and logically, it's a good thing. I spend, as Sean does, Sean and Ryan back here, we spend a lot of time in the schools with our kids in the gyms, and they're in basketball and various things throughout the time. And these schools are, they could use some work. I mean, they're not the worst, but they're certainly not the best. So I do believe that we could put together a package maybe that will support something that the voters are encouraged by. I know where the election failed last time, and I think I have a good idea of what it's going to take to try to get that passed. Now, I don't want to waste anybody's money. I'm not looking to do that. We just need to balance people that don't have a lot of money in the community to support the infrastructure. But contrary to what a lot of people in Clallam County think, Sequim does have a lot of kids. There's a lot of kids here who go to school. So anyway, that's part of what I want to do. There's some other things that I think the school district has some good members. I think some of them are just not in touch with families and people that have kids in school. So that's kind of why I want to. That's my purpose for running. So, and I'm sorry. I'm here to take your questions so I can develop what's important to you as I go forward in this campaign. Yes, sir.
Statement rather than a question. Well, I'm concerned about school funding in the sense that the more we put into schools, the less performance we can get out of them. There's a direct correlation between the rise in spending and the decrease in output. I think we're giving too much money and we're allowing frills to develop within the education system that are detracting from education.
That's a good point. You know, and I'll take a look at that. I can tell you that this is not directly related to that, but I can tell you that, and I don't know how to get around this. I've talked to the superintendent, outgoing one, a little bit about this, but I don't like the Common Core. You know, I'm opposed to it. But I've been, in my challenges I've had when people have brought that up, they said, well, then what's the alternative? Well, there's alternatives out there. And they said, well, it's too late to challenge it now because it's been put in place. And I said, no, I challenge it every night, every single day. I'm doing homework with my kids. And sometimes we're up, I'm not kidding, these are 8th graders, 11 o'clock midnight, you know, trying to do that work. I'm sure Sean can tell you too. So I sympathize with that. I don't have a good feeling about the rising costs, and I just know that I don't believe the education platform we have here is the best suited for children today. Can it be changed? Yeah, the school district can change it. There's there's a program that the kids are involved in, it's called, is it Excelsior Math, or it's what it was, the math program is horrible. And the school district teachers will tell you it's horrible. The administrators will tell you it's horrible. The children will tell you it's horrible. They actually, at one of the school district meetings we went to, they said the math that we're teaching our kids today doesn't even correlate with the math that they're going to be needing in college. Well, then why are we teaching it to them? Well, that's the program that we put in place. Well, why did you put that in place? It doesn't make any sense. So we have kids that are graduating from high school here, they're going to college, and they don't have the skills for basic algebra in college. And so that's, I think, a disconnect in what we're trying to teach. And yes, sir.
Congratulations on your candidacy. I think that's great. My concern is I compare everything that's going on now to what my experience was, and they don't match.
Yes.
And what my primary concern is, and I don't know if you can do anything as a board member, but it seems to me that the discipline in the upper grades in the at the high school level, from what I hear about the language that and disrespect that is afforded the student in front of the instructors, is appalling. And I don't know how it got that way other than political correctness. And I'd like to know if you think you can do anything about the discipline, because if the discipline were reinstated, I think you would find that there's no longer a need for these minimal class attendance. In other words, they want lower and lower student enrollment in a certain class. Therefore, the claim is they can teach better. And I came out of a system where it was common with 60, 75 kids in one room with discipline and one instructor, and we did pretty well. So I'd like to know what you can do about the discipline.
Okay, so I appreciate that question, and that's exactly why I'm here, because I want to get information that concerns you that I may not have enough information about. And I don't know exactly what the school board's involvement is in the disciplinary program in the school district. But that gives me something to investigate and look into. I don't have a good grasp, since I'm going into high school, about what discipline problems are. I think in the middle school, I can tell you, at least from my kids' perspective, in the middle school, they felt like they had a good school. As far as the kids, Sean, they get along well together. Pardon me? I'm sorry.
But are they learning anything?
Oh, well, they are, because we're teaching them at home. I'm saying, that's what I mean. So, well, that's why I'm running. I agree. So, but I mean, to answer your question, I think at the high school level, I don't have a good grasp on that yet. At the middle school, I can tell you that they had a good program there. I think they had a good system where kids would get called out if they needed some discipline. They had a system where the teacher, it's not really a timeout, but they pull them out of the class. And I just don't, and my kids were really heavily involved in the school. They were involved in sports. They both did basketball. My son did track. My daughter did soccer. My son's a treasurer for 3 years. And so I think they have a good grasp. And we talked to them about the kind of kids. And most of the kids that are there that I knew and Sean knows, they're good kids. So I'm sure there's some of those that are out there. But I'll certainly look into that question and get an answer for you. Is that my time?
Hi. You mentioned an alternate to the Common Core. Why would there need to be an alternate to the Common Core if we go back to basic education?
That's an alternate. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying Common Core is the alternate.
No, I'm saying anything other than Common Core is an alternate to that. That's what I mean. So if you go back to the basic education, well, that's an alternative. That's what I mean. I just don't think that. I'd like to see Washington. If I had my goal, and I'm not reaching out to do that. I think the whole state should get off Common Core like the other 25 some odd states in the United States are. It's not a good program. And I've learned more about it as I've been in there, and I've talked to school district members who, you know, they said, well, we put it in place, so what are we going to do now? I said, well, fix it. You know, I mean, we can fix it. And I was really appalled when I went to a school district meeting and talked to kids and educators and found out, well, it was actually a meeting that we went to for the 8th graders going into 9th grade. And it was actually a meeting that was addressing the whole math system in the 8th grade. And the cafeteria at the middle school was full of parents and kids. And there were teachers there that were talking about trying to help kids figure out how to get through this Excelsior math program and what you could do to help them learn it and how it translated to the kind of things that we learned. Division is not even done the same way. You don't put the number and draw the thing and do it out. They don't even do that. And I'll talk to my kids and I'll say, but that's not how you do it. And so anyway, I'm making this a long story, but when we went to that and the teachers told us that the way the kids are learning today will detract from them going to college, to me, that's a total disconnect. And I said, well, we got to fix that. So,
Okay, well, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.